have spent your whole life being warned about the wrong monster. Everyone told you to watch out for the narcissist, the cold one, the one who cannot feel your pain, the manipulator with no empathy, no conscience, no ability to understand what they are doing to you. So you learned the signs, you studied the red flags, you built your defenses against the person who does not care. And while you were watching that door, someone walked in through another one. Someone who cares deeply, who understands you completely, who feels your pain so precisely that you have never felt so seen in your entire life. That person is more dangerous than any narcissist you will ever meet. They are called the dark empath. And by the end of this video, you will understand why they are the predator that psychology did not even have a name for until recently. Why they slip past every defense you built, and why the people who hurt you the most were often the ones who understood you the best. For most of the history of psychology, there was a comforting assumption, a belief that made the world feel safe and sortable. The assumption was that dangerous people cannot feel. The dark triad, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, was defined in large part by a deficit, a missing piece. These people, the theory went, lacked empathy. They could not put themselves in your shoes. They could not feel your suffering. And that emptiness was what made them capable of harm. This gave everyone a simple rule. If someone is warm, understanding, and empathetic, they are safe. If someone is cold and detached, they are dangerous. Empathy was the dividing line between the people who could hurt you and the people who could not. Then, in 2021, a research team at Nottingham Trent University broke the textbook. Led by Dr. Nadja Haim, they surveyed almost 1,000 people, and what they found broke the textbook. They discovered that roughly 1 in 5 people scored high on the dark triad traits: the manipulation, the antagonism, the willingness to exploit, and also scored above average on empathy. The two things that were supposed to be mutually exclusive were not exclusive at all. The study identified 4 groups. The typicals, average on everything, about 34%. The empaths, high empathy and low dark traits, about 33%. The traditional dark triad, high dark traits and low empathy, about 13%. And then the group that should not have existed, high on dark traits, but above average on empathy, about 19% of the sample. Haim gave them a name, the dark empath. Nearly 1 in 5 people walking around with the manipulative core of a narcissist and the emotional radar of your most understanding friend. To understand why the dark empath is so dangerous, you have to understand something most people get wrong about empathy itself. Empathy is not one thing, it is 2. The first is cognitive empathy. This is the ability to read another person, to model what they are feeling, to predict their reactions, to take their perspective and understand their inner world with precision. Cognitive empathy is a skill, a tool, a way of seeing inside someone else's mind. The second is affective empathy. This is the ability to actually feel what another person feels. When you see someone in pain and your own chest tightens, when someone cries and you feel the sadness rise in your own body. Affective empathy is not a skill, it is a resonance. You are not just understanding their emotion, you are sharing it. For most people, these two travel together. You understand someone's pain and you feel it, and that combination is what stops you from hurting them. The feeling acts as a brake. You cannot easily wound someone whose pain you physically share. Here is what makes the traditional psychopath dangerous. They often have strong cognitive empathy, but weak affective empathy. They can read you perfectly. They just do not feel anything when you suffer. They understand the map without feeling the territory. Now here is what makes the dark empath a different kind of predator. They have both. They read you with the precision of a psychopath, and they feel you with the depth of a genuine empath. The map and the territory, complete understanding and resonance, and they still choose to hurt you. That is the part that breaks people, because you can make sense of a narcissist who does not feel your pain. You can tell yourself they just do not understand. They are broken. They cannot help it. But the dark empath understands exactly what they are doing. They feel your pain, and they use it anyway. The empathy does not stop the harm. It guides it. It makes the harm more precise, more targeted, more devastating, because they know exactly where it hurts. Now let me show you why they are so much harder to escape than the narcissist. Over time, the mask slips, and your gut starts screaming that something is wrong. Over time, the mask slips, and your gut starts screaming. The dark empath's mask does not slip, because it is not entirely a mask. Their warmth is often real. Their understanding is genuine. When they comfort you, they may actually feel your pain in that moment, and that authenticity is exactly what disarms every defense you built. The research reveals why this works. Dark empaths were found to be more agreeable than the traditional dark triad, more extroverted, more socially embedded. They tend to have wide social networks. They are well liked, charming. The person everyone describes as so kind, so emotionally intelligent, so easy to talk to, and that social camouflage is what makes them nearly impossible to identify. Because when you finally try to tell someone, the response you get is, "But they are so nice. I have never seen that side of them. Are you sure you are not overreacting?" The dark empath has a reputation. So when they hurt you in private, there are no witnesses and no believers. Their weapon of choice is not explosive rage. The research found that dark empaths favor indirect aggression, social exclusion, pointed humor disguised as teasing, making you feel guilty, emotional leverage applied so gently you cannot even point to what happened. They do not scream at you. They make a joke. That joke lands like a blade, and when you flinch, they say they were only kidding, and now you are the sensitive one. They do not abandon you dramatically. They withdraw their warmth just slightly, just enough that you spend days trying to earn it back. They understand your insecurities perfectly because you told them, because they made you feel safe enough to tell them. And they use that knowledge with surgical care. There is one more finding that should genuinely unsettle you. When Haim's team attempted to replicate the study with American participants, the preliminary results suggested that the levels of aggression in the dark empath group were nearly on par with the traditional dark triad group, making them, in the researchers' framing, just as dangerous. And they found something else. The dark empath group was significantly more goal-oriented and hungry for success than any other group, including the dark triad itself. Think about what that combination produces. Someone who understands people deeply, feels them genuinely, is willing to manipulate ruthlessly, and is driven by ambition more intense than a psychopath's. That is not a person who hurts you by accident. That is a person who can read exactly what you need, provide it precisely, and withdraw it strategically, all in service of a goal you cannot see. So how do you protect yourself from a predator whose primary weapon is that they understand you. You cannot rely on your usual detection system. Your gut is calibrated to catch coldness. The dark empath is not cold. Your instincts are watching for the absence of empathy. The dark empath has empathy in abundance. The old rules do not work here. So you change what you measure. Stop measuring how well someone understands you. Start measuring what they do with that understanding. A safe person uses their understanding of your pain to avoid causing it. A dark empath uses their understanding to navigate toward it when it serves them. Watch how they handle your boundaries. The dark empath is exceptional at making you feel heard. But feeling heard and being respected are not the same thing. When you say no, does behavior change? Or do they acknowledge your feelings beautifully and then do exactly what they wanted anyway? Empathy without respect for your boundaries is not care. It is reconnaissance. Watch the pattern, not the moment. In any single interaction, the dark empath will seem wonderful. The manipulation only becomes visible across time. Are you consistently left confused? Do you often feel guilty without reason? Do you find yourself working to earn back a warmth that keeps mysteriously disappearing? The individual moments will always check out. The pattern is where the truth lives. Watch how they treat people who cannot help them. The dark empath's charm is often reserved for people who matter. The way they speak about someone who has nothing to offer them, the server, the X, reveals the antagonistic core beneath the warm surface. And finally, trust the confusion itself. The narcissist leaves you angry. The dark empath leaves you confused, because part of what they gave you was real, and part of it was a weapon, and your mind cannot reconcile the two. That confusion is not a sign that you are overreacting. It is the specific fingerprint of this specific predator. When someone makes you feel understood and diminished, confusion is the clue. Here is where I want to leave you. For years, you were told that empathy was the safe signal, that the people who understand you are the people who will protect you, that warmth means safety. The research says otherwise. It says that empathy is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used to build or to break. The same ability that lets someone comfort you can let them dismantle you. The difference is not whether they understand you. The difference is what they do with the understanding. Most people will use it to care for you, but a small group, roughly 1 in 5, will use that same understanding as a map to your most vulnerable places, and they will feel your pain the entire time they walk you toward it. You are not paranoid for having felt this. You are not crazy for the confusion. You met someone who understood you and hurt you anyway. For years you had no word for what that was. Now you do. The dark empath, the predator that psychology almost missed, the one who proves that the most dangerous person is not always the one who cannot feel you. Sometimes it is the one who feels you completely and chooses to hurt you anyway. If this gave a name to something you live through, drop a comment. Tell me when you realize the truth. And remember, being understood is not the same as being safe. Protect your peace accordingly. Subscribe. Next week, we go deeper into the mind of the empath who learned to weaponize goodness.